thanks again for taking out time to talk to me about this. As Otto mentioned, and I mentioned to him before, I am an old school Screamer fan. I remember playing this game when you guys were Graffiti back in the day, walking through, I want to say King of Prussia Mall back in the day because I'm in Delaware, Pennsylvania. Electronic Boutique was still a thing. Walked in the store, saw this box with this car on their Lamborghini. Not a Lamborghini, but on the
Well,
box.
yeah.
Wow, this looks cool. I'm gonna go pick up this game. I go home and I'm like, wow, this reminds me of the Ridge Racers and the Daytonas that you couldn't play at home at the time.
Indeed.
And it was specifically just for a PC, which was great because back then I started playing on PC, and it was like, wow, this is really cool. And one of the things that really was interesting was the fact that back then we didn't really have what we have now. So it was still all software rendering. Was it the Voodoo 3D FX cards back in the day, and the old school Logitech gamepad that I hated so much, but so it was amazing. It was like, wow. Like I remember Screamer 2 coming out, and I was like, oh, this is not really the same. And then the next one came out. I was like, all right, this is not the Screamer I want to play. So, but that was then, and it disappeared. You know, the whole racing scheme. I think racing games, arcade racing games, as a whole on the PC, just disappeared because PlayStation, what was it, Dreamcast, Saturn, all those were coming out, and it was just all right, goodbye.
Absolutely.
So now you're back. You're back. You're under a different name, but you're. And I was like, wait. I remember somebody mentioning this this game coming out called Scream, and I was like, what? I remember a game being Screamer back in the day, and I said, let me go look at this game. It's like, wow, it's a racing game. I wonder if it's the same people. And I go, it's not the same. Wait, oh, it's the same people. They changed their name. Holy crap. Okay, great. So it was at Gamescom, and I was like, well, I'm not going to Gamescom. I have a thing about flying over large bodies of water. Like, I'm not going to Gamescom. But they reached out to me. It's like, hey, here's an alpha of the game. Would you like to play it? And I was like, hell yeah, I want to play this game. So played it for a while. I have to say it was, even though it's early, it's an amazing playing game. And I wanted to pick your guys' mind about what direction this game is going to. Obviously, it's not the same Screamer from back in the day. Not completely. It's still the same cool arcade racing, but you guys have a couple of things in there that are not the same. Like, for example, the art direction, the design is, you've got this anime infused look going on there. So where did that come from? Why are you going that route?
So first of all, thank you very much for your kind words, because you are exactly the type of person that we were thinking about when we were like, okay, we have to bring Screamer back, but there are people that are big fan of the titles, even if it's been quite a long time since the latest installment in the series. 1995. At least in Europe. I'm not sure in the US if it was kind of the same year or the year after, but still quite a bit of time. And you see, the thing is that, well, Screamer very well. And for the time, it was an amazing title. But then, as you correctly pointed out, arcade racing games kind of disappeared especially from PC. Obviously, you had various offers on console that were very, very strong, but there wasn't really anything like Screamer after Screamer release. It was a different era and a different type of approach to the genre altogether. Now, and this is very important to remember when we look at the new Screamer, because we were always like, we want to bring it back during the last 30 years, but we don't know how. And we had to find a way to do that. But we realized after a bit that, this game the original Screamer, is relatively bare bones when you compare it to the offering of the genre today. But the essence is still quite powerful. The feeling of speed, the extreme experience in some races. It's something that that's still a novelty that we can bring back that can stand the test of time, you could say. But one of the things that we wanted to do was to kind of inject a new soul into it, and that's where the anime part comes in, because we are big fans of anime in at the studio, and we cover many different eras of anime. But for this new game in particular, we wanted to stick to the 90s anime experience, so your Akira, your Ghost in the Shell. And this wasn't just a choice that we made because, you know, we think that anime looks cool, but also because we knew from the very beginning that we wanted a game that had a very strong narrative focus. But we wanted our story to be something else, something different compared to your usual racing game where, you know, you have your guy from the streets coming into a tournament and becoming the best that ever was. And anime allows us to break the rules of a story, because people know that from anime they can expect anything. Anything can happen in an anime story. And so this was essential for us because, as you have seen from the alpha that you've played, we wanted to justify all the gameplay mechanics, but we couldn't really do that in a realistic setting. And this is what the power that anime brings to the table when injecting it into the game.
One of the biggest things I've noticed in the demo, the alpha, well, two of the things is obviously you infuse some fighting game mechanics into the game, which is actually pretty cool. And also the drifting mechanic. And I was like, this is definitely really weird. And it took me a bit to get used to it. But once I got used to it, it was like, wow, this is actually, it gives me more control over my drifting, because we'll use Ridge Racer as an example. It's either tap the brake, hit the accelerator, go into the turn, and that's it. Either you let go of the gas or you don't let go of the gas. Either way, if you're not good, you're going to hit the wall. In here, you have a great sense of control on how your back end moves, and you can say, all right, I want to go in closer, I want to go in outer. And I was like, wow, why hasn't anybody else done this before? This is actually really smart.
Thank you, because it's one of the things that was scaring us the most when developing this game, because as you said, when you try it the first time, you're like,
yeah, I was like, what the heck? I can't do this.
Why can't you stick to what we always did in the last 30 years? And that's a great question, but I'm glad that you noticed that you really hit the mark here. Like, the level of control that twin stick gives you is why we decided to go for twin stick in the first place. This is an idea that we have seen explored in other titles. Inertial Drift is an indie game that uses a system that's similar to this, not quite the same. But our head of gameplay design, which is Emanuele Mari, his name, actually didn't know the indie game before developing this system. So he was thinking about a way of giving more controls to the player when drifting, and twin stick came to mind. Now, using both sticks in the modern era, especially in shooters, is not really unheard of, right. but you don't really use it for racing. And we created that specifically for the control that it gives, and because without that, we wouldn't be able to add all the fighting game mechanics that are the fighting game inspired mechanics that are on top of the racing itself. But honestly, I think the major hurdles that we have to challenge is the expectations. It's been 30 years that racing games have worked in a very specific way. We'd like to try something new. We think this is a good opportunity with the context of Screamer and bringing it back. And again, the Daredevil soul of the original is part of this approach. Like, the original was not what people expected at the time from a PC title, an arcade racer on PC. And here we're doing it again. People don't expect an arcade racer to break the rules this much, but we think it was a good homage to the original to do that. And that's where the twin stick idea kind of comes from and why it has been developed. Even if at the very beginning, we were skeptical of it ourselves, because it took a lot of iteration to get it right. it seems simple when you think about it. You're like, okay, you steer with a stick and then you drift with the other, but getting the angles right and giving you the right level of control, it's been quite the challenge. It's been quite the challenge. Took us some months.
Outside of that, it just seems like you are coming into this space at the right time because arcade racing games, unless you're talking about indie arcade racing games, are pretty much all but done. Ridge Racer is dead. Sega doesn't work on its racing games anymore. The only really arcade racing games most of us have out there are kart racing games. And traditionally, you've got the Mario Kart, you've got Sonic Racing, which just came out and is amazing. I hope you guys give that a try.
Mhm.
It's a fantastic game.
Yeah.
But outside of that, arcade racing is dead, and it stinks for somebody like myself because after Screamer disappeared, I went back to Ridge Racer and Daytona, and two of my favorite racing games of all time, and it just makes me feel bad that, especially Bandai Namco, who basically came into power mostly on Ridge Racer. Like Ridge Racer was synonymous for PlayStation, and now Ridge Racer is just gone, like completely gone. And now you got Screamer coming out, which is basically primed to go, hey, this is the arcade racer to play now because the other ones are gone. Give this a try. You might like it. And as you mentioned, the sensation of speed is there. The amount of tracks that were in that alpha were there. Some of them were just very technical, and I was like, wow, this is cool. I get to try and push my car butt out as much as possible while also fighting these other people. Now, sometimes I wish I wasn't really watching my behind because other cars are coming. I just wanted to do the whole racing aspect. But the essence of an arcade racer is there. You can see it. You can feel it.
Yeah, but also like this brings up a very nice design philosophy that we had throughout development, which is, as you said, arcade racers are kind of dead. Now, obviously, there are some great indie offerings out there, but the big names of the past are kind of gone. Now, why is that? Probably, in our opinion at least, it's exactly for the same reasons that we decided to bring back Screamer only like 30 years after the original. It's that it's a difficult market, and a difficult genre to get right because you have these titans with incredible gameplay that still stand as milestones in the, excuse the play on words with our company name, but they stand as milestone in the story of racing itself. And it's hard to challenge them because, like, why play a new Ridge Racer style game if it isn't Ridge Racer itself, which they aren't really doing. So that's why we decided to completely do something different. But doing something different, especially in the modern era, is a great risk. And we know that our game will need to, find an audience because not everybody is necessarily going to like it. We have taken some bold decisions in it. You can start from the twin stick, but also, as you were kind of mentioning, the fact that sometimes you just want to race, but you also have to fight. You can't really forget about the fighting. Now, there are some characters that weren't available in that build that kind of allow you to focus more on racing due to their ability. And there are also ways to customize the races themselves when you're playing alone that allow you to have a more racing, a purer racing experience, you could say. So we offer a lot in terms of gameplay, but it's something that we're going to talk about, in the near future. But in general, yeah, it feels like a good time to do something like this. We hope, at least. For sure, we are liking it, which is already kind of important, I'd say. But then we'll see how it goes.
Well, again, as somebody who has grown up on arcade racers and is extremely frustrated with the fact that there aren't any really good ones out there now, I'm extremely happy to see something like this come out. Let's talk about something that I think is very instrumental when it comes to racing games, the soundtrack. What are we doing on that front?
So, for the soundtrack of this game, at the beginning, we explore some more traditional options. We are in the city, let's have songs for the city. But then we were like, let's take a little bit more inspiration from fighting games. What if we have a song for each character? And that's what we are going for. So each character which, as you've seen in the game, they are organized in teams. Sorry. So each team has a theme song, or to say it better, a thematic genre, musical genre that's attached to the theme. Like the heroes, the Green Reapers, are kind of have some rock vibes to their sounds, and each of the characters has its own song. And so we really hope that people will enjoy that, because they have been done by many different artists, and we are very proud of the final result. We really wanted a soundtrack that made your head go in time with the rhythm, and that really enhanced the speed of the races themselves. Like you can get in the zone with our songs, and that's something that has been kind of lost more recently. You are more used, especially in racing, to have licensed songs from the real world, and then you have your radio stations.
Yeah,
and we were like, nah, let's do something else.
When I want to relax sometimes, or I just want to jam and chill, everything that I've had from my Ridge Racer game, or even a Sega Daytona USA, or even Outrun, I put those on because those tracks are timeless. They're amazing. Bandai Namco sound team just knocks them out of the park every time. I don't think I've ever heard a bad track from that team. And when I say that specifically, I'm pointing out to a specific game, the Ridge Racer Unbounded, which was not one of my favorite racing games, nor was the soundtrack. It was just like, oh, what happened here, guys? This is not Ridge Racer. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad to see that you're going a different route with the music department. What about co-op? Oh, well, yeah, co-op, online co-op. Will this game have that? I wasn't sure if I saw that or that in the mentioning of the game or not. So if you like go online and play other people, or to just a offline affair only game.
Oh no, there is an online component to this game, and it's actually quite extensive, I'd say. You can play online with your friends. You can play in more relaxed playlists. So you can play both offline and online.
What are you looking forward to for Screamer? What is your expectations? What would you like to see with this game? Obviously, as a developer, you want it to do well, but what do you want to do for the arcade racing genre?
So we hope we can inspire other studios to kind of try something new. Obviously, it's hard. It depends on the market and many decisions that are not so fun as making games, you could say. But we really hope that we can show our other friends in other studios that there is room to do something more with racing. What we did with the story, even if it's something that we haven't talked about much yet, but we've always said that this game has a massive story mode. We hope that they'll inspire a new generation of arcade racers to come out, because honestly, it's a genre that has a lot to offer, even if you want to stick to something more traditional, and it would be nice to have something new again on this specific market. So that's kind of the approach we had with the genre. We were like, we want to push the boundaries of what an arcade racer can be. We're playing our hand. Like, we don't want to say we risk it all, but we'll take the bold decisions. We hope that someone else will follow in our steps for the good of the genre in general. I'd say we are racing fans ourselves at the end of the day, so we are kind of in your same ship. You're like, oh, why can't we have more arcade racers? Where's Ridge Racer? Where is the F-Zero? Where is all these games?
It's such a sore point. Every time Nintendo does a direct, I'm like, where's F-Zero? Where's F-Zero? Where's F-Zero, guys? They're like, oh, it's Mario Kart. No, I want F-Zero back.
So that's kind of the approach that we had.
Before you go, I always like to ask developers, what are they playing now? I mean, obviously you're working on your game right now, but what is something outside of your game that you're playing or want to play?
So actually, I am playing a lot of Street Fighter because I want to go to Evo France next week, and so I need to train for the tournament.
You're going to enter. Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you. But outside of that, and to XKO from Riot Games, because you might have discovered one of the biggest fighting game fans in the office here. But Outside of that, I'm also playing Unicorn Overlord on the Nintendo Switch too, because I always wanted to play it, and then I had to come to the US a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh, let's try that, because I was playing Donkey Kong, which is amazing, but I played a lot of it, and so I needed something new. So these are the games: Street Fighter and Unicorn Overlord. I'd say.
Man, it kind of feels like I missed my mark about talking about the fighting game mechanics. I didn't want to ask you too many things about that because I'm pretty sure you weren't ready to put that all out there just yet. So I didn't want to pick your mind just yet. Maybe we'll talk about that again another time. You mentioned 2KO. Have you been following Marvel Tycoon Fighting Souls?
Absolutely. Yeah, Marvel. Yeah. Token's Fighting Souls from Arxis. No, but we also play Guilty Gear at the office. Our creative director is a big King of Fighter guy. We have the Tekken people. Some of them are coming to Evo, but competing in Tekken. So, no, the fighting game is there. The fighting game inspiration is there. Not again because we needed some, no, but because we like them. We like them, and we were like, hey, the 90s, especially in the arcades, were two things: Street Fighter and the Crazy Taxi or Sega Rally, depending on your preference. But still, fighting games and racing games, and Sega Bass Fishing, I'd say. But we are kind of meshing them together. Sega Bass Fishing aside.
I was hoping you were going to say, "Hey, we got something in there for that as well." I was going to go, "Really? What are you doing?"
No, we don't. That maybe another time, not this time. It already felt overwhelming as it is, I'd say.
All right. Well, it looks like the game's in good hands in terms of the racing aspect and also the fighting game aspect. So that's good to see that your studio has a bunch of fighting hits in there. For everybody who's going to Evo, good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck. But thank you for taking out your time, your busy schedule, to speak with me about this. I enjoyed the time, and thank you everybody else for making this happen. Appreciate it. Thank you.